Hey guys, I'm Randy Unger, and this is another episode of Unger the Radar, where we talk all things film. And like always, I have a wonderful panel of guest critics tonight. We have, ladies first, Miss Jen Cove. Welcome, Jen.
Hi.
Mr. Rob Harris, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Randy. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure on this end as well, sir. And Mr. Matt Roren, welcome back.
Pleasure, sir. A pleasure.
Yes, yes. So guys, I just want to start off the show by talking about what we're watching this week. I know you may have been busy with some of the films that we're going to review tonight, but if there's anything else that you guys have been watching, feel free to sound off. Matt, what have you been watching?
Well, I just finished my rewatch of Breaking Bad.
Oh, yes.
And did El Camino. Right after that, I'm going to start my rewatch of Better Call Saul, and I know I'll be done with it way before the new season comes out, but it'll be nice to prepare myself for the new season that way.
Yeah.
Very anxious for that. Yeah, I've been watching. I just finished season 5 of my rewatch of Empty Nest, and season 2 of Nurses. And I had just started the lone season of the show Whoops that aired on Fox back in 1992. So that's what I'm doing.
Your TV is literally a time machine, and I love it. You were always in the late 80s, early 90s, and that was my favorite era.
It's a very good time.
Awesome. Empty Nest is a classic. Rob, what are you watching or reading? I know you're a big fan of the book.
Yeah. I've been reading this graphic novel called Upgrade Soul. I'm almost finished with it, but it's extremely good. Really noteworthy piece of science fiction, very imaginative.
Cool.
But I've actually been on a Terry Gilliam kick.
Yes.
Awesome.
I rewatched Time Bandits, and
Yes.
actually rewatched The Fisher King.
Oh, so good.
And I'm just a huge Gilliam fan. And I saw The Man Who Killed Don Quixote for the first time. I don't know if we
Still have
spoke
to watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
Well, yeah, I've only seen parts of it. Is that Jonathan Pryce and Adam Driver?
I think
Yes,
so.
yes.
The guy from the new Star Wars?
Yes.
I know Adam Driver's definitely in it. Yeah, and Jonathan Pryce was in it too.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie was in development hell for like decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked it up. 1989 is when it was first supposed to be filmed. So
Originally Johnny Depp.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean he's had some bad luck, man. Because it's like Heath Ledger died during filming Parnassus, so he replaced him with Jude Law, Colin Firth, and Johnny Depp.
That's right. I forgot that he did
And
that.
and then that was I mean he had still been working on this one movie where it's like he filmed a bunch of stuff. It got destroyed due to like flooding and whatever, and it's
Well, anything that Terry Gilliam does is pretty much gold.
Yeah,
I think
love him.
Brazil is probably one of my favorite science fiction films of all time.
Yeah.
I could just watch that endlessly. It's one of those types of movies as well that I sometimes put on as background noise when I'm going to sleep. I don't know why. It fits the mood of like it's just like a dream. So
Yeah.
That's one thing that I absolutely love about his films. They kind of like connect to like the elusive part of like imagination.
Yeah. Also, I'm sure you've seen Baron Munchausen.
Oh, I love that film.
Oh, it's incredible.
So
It's like, I just love the dream state of like half of his films. Yeah, most of them. And then then he's just got like, Drug Trip, Fear and Loathing, and which I guess counts.
Jen, are you a Terry Gilliam fan or?
I mean, the movies that Rob was just saying I watched with him this past week. To be honest with you, I don't think I've seen an awful lot of his stuff, but the things that I have seen so far, I really like.
Okay, cool.
Really, all I can contribute in that way.
That's cool. Well, what have you been watching this week?
Well, I watched The Man That Killed Don Quixote with Rob. Also, I I really love The Good Place. I think I've mentioned that on here
Yep,
a few
yep.
times before. So I spent the weekend dog sitting for my friend and watching The Good Place on her TV again for like my third time watching it.
You know, Jen, you're gonna be proud of me. I'm on chapter 5 right now.
Okay,
Nice.
yes, I watched
Let's go.
Yeah.
I think my favorite episode, I'll get it to you, but I think it's the end of it's either the first episode of season 2 or the last of season 1. I can't remember. I'll get it for you, but
Okay.
um
It's so good. It's such a
yeah.
crazy, unique brand of humor.
Yep, it gets a little better because if you're only on chapter 5, you haven't even gotten to like all the twists and turns it's going to take you through yet. So
okay. Yeah, I'm at the sinkhole.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
yeah, no,
you pretty amazing places.
You've got plenty of time here before some other cool stuff happens in that show.
I love it. It's just like a nice, easygoing, breezy comedy.
Yep, that was my pandemic watch. I watched it for the first like month, and now I love it. So I've watched like 2 more times.
Awesome. How many seasons are there again?
4.
Okay, that's good. That's definitely bingeable.
Yeah, and I'm not a big binge watcher just because I don't like to sit in front of the TV all day, but that one is just like candy. You just want to keep watching them. So
that's cool. Anything else on your TV these days?
Well, I haven't seen the new season of Glow Up yet, not Glow
Right.
Up, but I saw on Netflix that the 3rd season came out, which means it already aired in London. So they aired on TV in the UK, and then they do the reruns a few months later on Netflix. And America just got it like last week, so I'm gonna spend next week doing that.
Okay.
I highly recommend season 1 and 2 of it as well. Rob watched it with me too.
I watched all of season 2 with Jen, and I was really impressed. Very similar, like competitive show to something like Ink Master, where they have like different challenges, and they showcase their different skills. But it's good. It's a fun show.
When it comes to competition TV shows, I'm a big fan of Chopped. And
see, I don't watch a lot of competition TV shows, but the kind of nice thing about this is that it doesn't feel super competitive. Like it's more about the art and everybody supports each other. And then unfortunately somebody has to leave, but it's not like, we hate you, get out of here, you're voted off. You know what I'm saying? It's more like you're gonna have a great run in the industry. So
they're not competitors, they're colleagues.
Right. Well, because they're it's makeup artists for like theater and TV like and stuff like
very
that.
Strong like camaraderie, between the competitors, which is really refreshing to see in a show like that. For sure.
Okay. I think I might know this show or a show similar.
There was one for like horror and special effects makeup.
Yes,
This is a wider variety. It's special effects. They do a theatrical thing. They do red carpet. They do Vogue magazine look. Like they go through every type of makeup artistry that you can do. But it's really cool because you get to see kind of the behind the scenes, and most of them end up getting careers in the field afterwards anyways, which is why they're all nice to each other. So
cool. Glow Up. I think I'm going to check that out. Sounds good. All right, guys. So let's get into our first review. We're going to talk about the new Disney ride turned Disney epic adventure film, Jungle Cruise, starring Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt. Blunt's character, basically, she's an explorer trying to find the tears of the moon, which will grant basically health. It'll revolutionize the medicine industry. And she basically links up with Dwayne Johnson's character, Frank, who owns a riverboat. And together they travel the Amazon. I believe it is the Amazon. Is it the Amazon jungle?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Basically, a very dangerous jungle where there are creatures out to get them. There's a supernatural element. There's a Nazi prince in a submarine out to get them.
Jesse Plemons, of course.
Yeah, brilliant performance, very funny guy. And yeah, this is an adventure film through and through. It's a lot of fun. I think it's good for relatively the whole family, maybe the older kids, because it does get pretty violent towards the end. But yeah, Blunt and Johnson, perfect chemistry. I love seeing them on screen. They're funny. They're nice to look at. You've got Jesse Plemons, who plays a Nazi who basically steals the show. Another actor who steals the show, I believe his name was Jack Whitehall, who plays the younger brother of Emily Blunt's character. Kind of, I got a strong Mummy vibe here from 1999. And it was a nice feeling of nostalgia because I love the first Mummy. I thought it was just very clever at the time.
Yeah.
Very good visual effects too, and one of the great scores by Jerry Goldsmith. But this film, it kind of has that vibe, that fun adventure vibe. So, Jen, ladies first, what did you think of Jungle Cruise?
Okay, I liked it. I didn't love it. This was by far my least favorite of all three of them.
Okay.
I agree with you in the sense that I thought The Rock and Emily Blunt and whatever the actor that was the brother, the acting and the casting was phenomenal. I thought they were all great. My issue, I guess, with it, one, is that it felt very, very long for no reason at all. Afterwards, I was like, I felt like I'm watching it forever. And then I looked and it was like 2 hours and 40 minutes, which for a Disney movie is very, very long. And like you said,
Mary Poppins was like 3 hours long.
Yeah, but like when I walk, I'm a big Disney person, but like when I walk into a Disney movie, I'm like 2 hours is enough. You know what I'm saying? It just felt like they could have cut some corners a little bit just to speed up the storyline.
Right.
Like you said, I think it was more for like older kids. Little kids might like it, but I think it was more geared for an older crew.
Yeah.
Another thing I loved about it was that it was super unique. I was happy to not see a remake of something from 30 years ago for once. You know, it was nice to be like, okay, they took a ride and they made a storyline out of it. What I didn't like, other than it being long, is that it got very confusing somewhere in the middle there, that I started to like tune out a little bit of some of the backstory that was going on, because it just felt like they were doing so much exposition for no reason at all. And then when it got to the action part, I was like, what the heck is happening? Like, I couldn't remember some of the people's names anymore, like some of the storyline. I just think it could have been tweaked a little bit. Once watching it one time is enough for me. I wasn't somebody that would watch it like over and over and over again, but it was refreshing to see something new for sure.
Yeah, I actually saw this twice.
Okay.
And because I was curious, because I really liked it the first time. I thought it like it was very original. It felt like,
absolutely,
you know, it was just a great ride to go on. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't really warrant multiple viewings, because once you see it, you see it.
Yeah.
You get it. But yeah, I just again, I love, there's so many elements of this movie that were great. It just, like you said, it needed some tightening, some, you know, adjusting.
Yeah. But I really loved the brother. I thought he was the best part of the whole movie, to be honest with you. And I thought the characters in general were great. It was nice to see like a woman that was like not there just to be like, oh, she's awesome. Like she actually was, you know what I'm saying? And she didn't have to prove it to anyone.
Yeah.
And the chemistry with the brother was great, because that kind of added a layer to their relationship. And then I actually really like The Rock and everything I've seen him in, pretty much. So that
you actually believe that they're related.
Yes, that's what I mean. Like it wasn't like, I feel a lot of times movies do this thing with women where they're like, well, we have to be super feminist now, so let's make it totally unbelievable how far to the other side she is. And it's just, there was like a nice level of like femininity and badassness, you know what I mean? Like they were both there, and that was really brought to life. I like that.
There's a very unexpected, really refreshing things that come to light. And you know, it's sort of a spoiler, but Jack Whitehall's character of the younger brother, he basically comes out to Dwayne Johnson in one scene. So I think that's the second time in a live action Disney film where there is a gay character. And that was and the way that they did it was very, very you know, delicately. The way they did it was really, really smart. So I'm really happy that that they did that. They threw that in there. The first, of course, was LeFou in
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast, thank you. But yeah, that was just like a cool. Matt, what did you think of the film?
I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, like you said, it was a bit long. Usually for like something like that, you say like hour and a half to 2 hours is like all you need. I mean, even like classics like Mary Poppins, shit's too long. It's like, I love Mary Poppins, but like trim it down a bit. I mean, there's certain movies I'll watch. Like, if it's a Marvel movie, I could watch 5 hours of it. I'm like so enthralled in it. Something like this, it's like, I mean, maybe if it was like a series of them and like,
yes,
totally later on, like one of them is a little longer, that's fine. But I mean, there's definitely like chunks they could have cut out. But what I really liked about it is it had that, like you were saying with the Mummy, where it's like it had that adventure movie feeling that like almost all adventure movies have in like the 80s and 90s. And I feel like the Mummy may have been the last time we really got like to some extent the Pirates of the Caribbean movies like have some of that in there, but it's still not like, it's still too like modern.
Well, I'll give you one more, Matt. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I don't want to talk about that movie.
Uh-oh, I hit a nerve. Really?
That movie is terrible.
That's a fun one, though.
It's based on an incredible graphic novel, and it is hot garbage.
Oh, I liked it. It's like one of the few Shane West movies I like.
That's the movie that made me. I was like, after that came out, I'm like, I will never go see an adaptation of an Alan Moore book ever again. So I didn't go see V for Vendetta when it came out, and now like I saw it, and then I'm like, oh, this movie's really good. And then yeah, I mean, Watchmen is like decent, like it's visually nice,
right.
But yeah, I don't know. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, like, it did me wrong. It just did me wrong.
I want to read the graphic novel now.
Yeah, me too. That sounds cool. But speaking of the visual style for this movie, absolutely beautiful. It looks like it came out of a children's coloring book or even a comic book. It's just so vibrant, and the jungle is really, it's literally alive. And I've heard that this film, and I kind of agree that it relied a little too much on CGI.
Especially towards the end.
Yeah, definitely.
That is one thing that I totally forgot about. I really liked the cheetah or whatever, jaguar, whatever he was, the little pet.
Yeah.
But at one point, like, it was so CGI'd that I could tell that it was a CGI animal in a movie. With
everything I didn't like about the Jungle Book was like where I'm like, it's like, because they're like calling it a live action movie, but it's all cartoon.
Yeah.
And it's like,
this was like,
it was with me. There's no people in this.
A very stark difference.
It's all animals. It's a cartoon. Like,
it was
it's like more of a cartoon than like Roger Rabbit,
It was really just like leftover footage from the live action Lion King, which was just totally unnecessary. But they could have toned down the CGI. They could have shortened it. There was a couple of flaws here, but I think the pros outweighed the cons, in my opinion. Rob, your thoughts on the film?
I really liked it. I thought that it was very funny also. I mean, like, just like The Rock and Emily Blunt and like the brother, like going back and forth. Like, I was like in stitches a lot throughout the whole thing. I thought it was really engaging. And as we were saying, like, I agree with you guys. I feel like it's been a long time since we've received like a really good, like, entertaining action adventure film like this. There were some things that like I felt like paid homage to, like Indiana Jones even. Like like there's a scene in the beginning that reminded me of when Indiana is in the library, when he's doing the stamp and everything like that, with the librarian there and everything. So I felt like they were kind of paying homage in small ways like that, which was nice to see. And they do that later in the film also. They're like swinging on a vine and everything like that, and they make a joke out of it. But I liked it. I mean, yes, there was a lot of CGI. I thought the action sequences were good. They were entertaining. But I liked it overall.
Weird. It's like the movie, it feels familiar, like you've seen this before, but it's kind of fresh and original too.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely original, but it also is like derivative in like a non-obnoxious way. But
Kind of like almost written like a movie from the 30s was written, like like the 30s, 40s kind of feel to it.
Serials. Yeah.
Like it's like which is cool. And I mean, I mean, what is like the third movie they've done based off of one of the rides, because they did the Haunted Mansion as well.
Mhm.
But
Right.
I mean, I think this out of the three of them was my favorite. I mean, I like the first two Pirates movies, but I it's kind of cool to come up with full concepts based on like these rides. I
I
kind of
loved that.
Yeah,
That's the one thing I liked
yeah.
about it is like
Mhm.
some of those rides there are part of movies that already exist, and some of them are just so
Yeah.
random. And it was nice to be like, now they can say when they go down there, oh, this is from the Jungle Cruise movie.
Yeah. Have any of you guys been on the ride itself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm
I've
not
never-
sure if I have.
You've never been to Disney World?
But I never did the Jungle Cruise.
Really?
Yeah,
Because it's
I'm
like
not sure if I
Yeah.
have.
it's
Or
so
maybe I
old.
did. I was too young to remember,
It's
but
so old. It's been there since it opened.
Quick
No,
story for you guys. There was a lovely couple that I had met in a movie theater when we were reviewing Pig, and I had just seen it. I was talking to them about it, and they bought a ticket for it. Long story short, the gentleman was telling me that Walt Disney himself was the host of the original Jungle Cruise ride when it opened. So
cool.
I thought that was really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Oh. And side note, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen were set. I think they were both in the lead, in the running for the lead role for
Wow.
Frank, or Tom Hanks definitely was. But that would have been a totally different movie.
Yeah.
I think Tom Hanks would have done a good job. I really love The Rock, so I'm not putting
Yeah.
him down, but I think Tom Hanks would have been a good choice for it as well.
Right. It just wouldn't have been as action packed.
No, not at all. But I mean, like he would have done a good job with the character, I guess.
Oh yeah, I could picture him in that getup.
Yeah.
But
If you want to watch Galaxy Quest again.
oh man, you know what? You just reminded me. Yeah, we're gonna do an under the radar commentary for Galaxy Quest in the near future. So
Let's go.
stay tuned for that, guys. All right. So Jungle Cruise, I say see it. Matt, see it or skip it.
See it.
Yeah. Jen.
See it, but once is good.
It's good like every couple of years, I guess.
Yeah, it's
See
not
it
an everyday
400
thing.
times in a row.
Yeah, oh, God. Rob, would you recommend this to people?
Absolutely. See it.
Nice. Cool. All right. Next up, we've got one of the best movies, I think, of the year. It's called Coda, otherwise known as Child of Deaf Adults. And it stars Amelia Jones as Ruby, who is an aspiring singer. She's having some trouble at school and at home. Her parents and her brother are all deaf. She's the only hearing person in the family, which causes some strain on the family. The family owns a fishing business. They're kind of struggling. Amelia is, kind of being torn in different directions. She wants to lead her own life, but at the same time, she has devotion to her family. This movie, it's, I think, top 5 of the year so far for me. It was so well acted. I can't think of anything negative to say, really. Maybe it was a little melodramatic at times, but overall, I think it's just a fantastic film. This is great for the whole family. There is some cursing, there is some violence, the fight scene, but I think other than that, this is a near perfect film. And yeah, Coda, I love it. I can't say enough about it. Matt, your thoughts?
I loved it. Just like you, I thought it was superbly acted. I thought, just the whole premise of it was great, and it was interesting to see a movie in which like you get Marlee Matlin, classic deaf advocate, doing a movie where like the deaf people in the movie are kind of dicks. Like you don't ever get like everything's always like, oh, deaf people, they're so great. Like, and it's like, no, they're people. They're just people.
Yeah.
We're all people.
Right.
Like they're not on some higher level. It's like we're just people. And it's nice to see this relationship between her and her family, like, you know, that like they're kind of like, they both kind of like have this like passive aggressive to sometimes just full out aggressive, like you know, they just rub each other the wrong way, and like how like her family kind of like, you know, like looks down upon her for being hearing. It's just like interesting. It's very interesting. You know, I loved it. I thought it was really well done.
And you know what? It doesn't beat you over the head with the fact that they're deaf.
Right.
It's a story about a family that just so happens to be deaf. You know, that's what I love about it. It doesn't focus on that.
And like the situations that like come up because of it, like where it's just like you know, it's heartwarming and frustrating and all that stuff, and you know, it's yeah, just really well done.
It's like a really true dramedy, I'd say.
Yeah.
Dramedy in every sense of the word. Rob, did you enjoy Coda?
Very much. Yeah, there was one scene that I was laughing so hard that you know, I was watching with Jen. I couldn't like hear what they were saying because you know, the subtitles were on, but you know, like I was reading them, and I couldn't even like read it because I was laughing so hard. Anyway, it was really moving as well. You see the ways that different people listen to one another and communicate like beyond the ways that we do in everyday life, which is really remarkable. And the way that they convey it is beautiful. There was a scene with the father character that I love, and he's watching his daughter perform and sing, and you know, like you're looking at it through his eyes, and he's looking around in the audience, and he's listening like through people's reactions, and he could see his daughter's voice in that way. Just really beautiful. Like,
yeah.
Anyway,
the way that they convey like delivering and receiving messages, communication, is really brilliant. And there's a scene towards the end where the father is kind of sitting with his daughter, and she's singing, and he puts his hand over her neck to feel the vibration, and
her throat,
her throat. And that was that was a really beautiful scene. This movie, the whole movie has beautiful scenes, and just the relationships are very strong too. And
the cinematography as well is gorgeous. Like, there were a lot of fisheye shots that I loved, you know, where they had like a wide shot and everything like that, and the character would be riding a bicycle, you know, and be by the water, but really well composed shots and everything like that, refreshing to look at. And you know,
I think there's some moments that are kind of out of focus, right? And then it does focus, and again, it just really great stylistic choice from the director. Jen, what did you think of the film?
So overall, loved the film. I'm going to get a little nitpicky because why not? But I did love it. It was one of the best things I've seen in a while. Fun fact, Coda, you said one of the meanings. Before I knew what the movie was about and I heard the name of it, I said, oh, this is going to be about music. Because in music, I read music. I studied music in college. So that's why I'm going to get nitpicky with this. A coda actually is at the end of the song. It's long. I mean, there's a very long explanation for this, but basically it's like the end finale. You end at this part is the coda.
Okay.
Which is on purpose. So it's a double entendre for the name of the film.
Right.
Because it's her conclusion of that part of her life is what I think they were going for.
That's
where I'm gonna get. What were you gonna say?
No, that's awesome. I didn't know what that.
And then I looked up to see that coda actually meant something in the deaf community. I said, oh, interesting. So I knew it was gonna be about music before I even saw the synopsis of it. So loved it. I thought the actors were incredible. I thought the storyline was super interesting, something that you don't see a lot. You hit it on the head when you said, or somebody said, it was just like about a deaf family. It wasn't like kind of shoving it down your throat that they were deaf. Like that was not always the main issue that was going on there. The one thing that ruined this movie for me, and by ruined, I mean I would watch it again, but ruined it for me. I studied musical theater and music in college, and they kind of made fun of themselves at one point during this, but there is no way on this earth that any person that just kind of joined choir would suddenly be able to show up late to their Berkeley audition. And then like, it was just like one thing after another. They'd be like, goodbye, get out of here. We've got 10,000 people to see. And also they said, they were like, oh, other than choir class, you haven't had a lot of music. Like, I studied classical music for 10 years, and it still would be very difficult for me, even now, you know, having worked professionally in the field for 10 years, to get into Berkeley. Do you know what I'm saying?
Letting her like start over.
Yeah, and he
some strange guy who go to the school comes in like, I'm gonna play now.
At that point, I was just like, I almost would have preferred her to get rejected and have been like, I'm going to go to school somewhere else for music and start this journey for myself, because it just made everything else super unbelievable to me. And also she applied to one school. Like, what was her backup plan there? Like, it just didn't seem well thought out.
Well, she also like, in the movie didn't even like kind of like beforehand like didn't realize there were music schools until the music teacher was like,
that?
Like, do this. And like, all right.
Yep. So that kind of, having gone through that system of auditions and stuff, it kind of ruined it for me a little bit, because I was like, now it's getting corny, because now it's going to be one of those feel good things at the end when the storyline prior to that was like perfect. Another thing that really irked me a little bit was there was absolutely no need and no resolution for her friend and her brother hooking up. It was weird. They never talked about it again after that. And it just was like, okay, she told them not to. Now her friend kind of looks like a jerk because she asked her not to do something. Then she did it. And then her brother's complaining how everybody loves her so much the entire film, which was justified. But they just never mentioned it again. And then she gets in the car and drives off with her friend at the end of the movie. And I was like, so this is never going to be approached again. Yeah. It was like 20 minutes of the movie that could have just been something else entirely.
Like, it never happened. Let's just gloss over.
But I guess it didn't add anything to the plot is what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, if they had done something like in the end, she was like, well, I'm going to stay here with your brother and help the family. It would have been like, this makes a lot of sense now. But they just threw it in there to be like, let's throw some sex into this. That's what it felt like.
Yeah. Okay.
But other than that, I mean, I thought the acting was great. I thought the storyline was great. I felt for all the characters. The cinematography was beautiful. Original storyline, like you said, near perfect film. But those two things just really bothered me.
All right, gotcha.
I saw in the credits, Randy, that this movie was based on a movie called
French film.
Yeah, La Famille Bélier, which is a 2014 French comedy. But that film and Coda are also like based a little bit like a narrative on a movie called Beyond Silence from 1996, a German movie. So I really want to see both of those now.
Oh, from Germany to France to the United States. Okay. I guess it's a universal story. So there you go. But also, I wanted to mention, guys, Eugenio Derbez, who plays the music teacher. Hilarious. Yeah. So good.
Great. Yeah.
So unique. You know, I've never seen this guy before, but
I feel like I've seen him in something and I couldn't place it. Like, I kept being like, I know that guy from somewhere, but I don't know where.
He's a Mexican actor, comedian, filmmaker, and his feature film, which he directed, Instructions Not Included.
Oh,
yep.
Yes, that movie's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Is it?
Yeah, I own it.
The poster, and it's reminding me.
It's when I was working the cinema, I used to run school shows for the kids. Their Spanish classes would come in and stuff, and I'd run movies for them. That's one of the movies I always ran for them. That's why I know that movie. Like, it's a really beautiful film. You need to check it out.
Nice. Cool. It's a dramedy from 2013. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add
now I know where I know that guy from. Excellent.
There you go. Yeah, but he's so good in Coda. I think he's one of the best actors in the film. Yeah.
Do we know if the not Marley Matlin, but the other two, do we know if they're actually deaf in real life, the actors. They didn't speak, so you couldn't really tell.
Let me see here. I mean, it would make sense that they were, but
Or they could just know sign language. They didn't make any vocal tonation that would say to me that they were deaf. So I'm just curious.
all right. So Frank Rossi, I believe, is the dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's 53, so that's him. He is deaf.
Okay.
And the name was I guess the brother was Leo Rossi.
Yep.
Here.
Yeah.
He's yeah, he's a member of the deaf community, it says.
Okay. No, it's great that they actually got deaf actors. I was curious though, because there was
Yeah.
nothing that would stop a hearing actor from being able to play their role because they didn't talk, they just did signings.
Yeah, and that adds to the authenticity of the whole thing.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
Love that. I love that they use actual deaf people, deaf actors. So I love this movie. This, for me, I think this is a multiple viewing situation, you know, because there might be something something beautiful I missed the first time around. So check it out again. But yeah, I think it's unanimous that, you know, we recommend this to everybody.
This is my favorite one of the three that you showed us. So.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be good because of the plot, the premise, but I didn't know it was going to be this good. So I'm happy about that.
Yep.
So, oh, and let me just mention this. Coda is actually streaming. It's actually out in theaters now and is currently streaming on Apple TV Plus. So if you have Apple TV Plus, go check it out. If you want to see it on the big screen, that'd be cool too. Also, I forgot to mention that Jungle Cruise is also out in theaters and streaming on Disney Plus through Premier Access. So check that out as well. Now, before we move on to our final review, I just want to mention another movie related to Coda loosely from last year, Sound of Metal, which also delved into the deaf community. So I think it's really amazing that this is, you know, the following year, and we have another phenomenal movie that just so happens to have a deaf cast. So yeah, Coda, amazing. All right, guys. So we're gonna just take a short commercial break, but we'll be back with our final review of the evening right after this.
Under the Radar is brought to you by Magnitude Jewelry. Add a 2 to match your attitude. Patent pending, interchange genuine gemstone and crystal EMF protection jewelry. For more information, please visit magnitudejewelry.com/gemgirl or call 718-268-6634.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show, Rain Younger with Radar. And our final review tonight is the Aretha Franklin biopic, Respect, starring Jennifer Hudson as Franklin. And basically, we have a lovely painting painted by the filmmaker of Aretha Franklin's life, from being just a young girl singing in her father's choir up until basically her rise to stardom. And I think this is another phenomenal film, a phenomenal performance by Jennifer Hudson. I think I'm almost positive she's going to be nominated for an Oscar, if not win one. It'll be her second win after Dreamgirls in 2006, which she won for a Best Supporting Actress. So yeah, this is another film that there are flaws, yes, but overall I loved it. I saw it in theaters, so my toes were tapping to the songs, and that's a good sign. I don't remember the last time that's happened. But Rob, what were your thoughts on Respect?
I really like that movie. Forrest Whitaker was a fantastic performance in it. I loved him. Marlon Wayans played like a very different role, which was nice to see. Mary J. Blige, I was really happy to see her too. Like I loved her in
Body Cam.
Damn you! Damn that movie! Body Cam. I'm gonna be haunted for the rest of my life of Body Cam. Sorry. Yeah, Mary J. Blige plays a cop who's investigating a string of crimes that are supernatural related. She's basically chasing a ghost.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, it was.
That was like the first movie we reviewed during the pandemic.
Yeah, I think
it was like Universal was like, "Oh, good, we don't have to put this out in theaters. Release it streaming." And then we reviewed it, and it was the fucking worst. And I expected so much more of Mary J. Blige, and she finally delivered to me. Thank you.
I thought she was good in Umbrella Academy. Oh,
that's right, she's in that too. I forgot.
I thought she was great in that.
No, I didn't.
But yeah, I mean, the cast was fantastic. Audra McDonald, like, just really, really good. And I like, how you see her career shift with the times and everything like that. And how that highlighted how she was like a really profound activist, for civil rights, which was incredible to see also. And I didn't know that she was friends with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
I didn't know that either.
Really remarkable to see.
Honestly, there were a lot of, I don't really know much about Aretha Franklin's life. I just know obviously her songs, but this movie definitely it highlighted her career, her life, which was really cool. And it's educational. So
definitely, yeah. There was also one scene that I just want to talk about real quick. It was incredible. Like it reminded me of Raging Bull when De Niro was in the ring with like his biggest nemesis in the film. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but everything just kind of stops and hones in onto that one moment. And that happened in this film too. And it was like a pivotal point, where she like was making a choice and like using her music to help her get through something, and really, really tastefully done and interesting and very artistic. So and there were some other things like that in the film that where like she was remembering something and it was like a little bit blurry, and I don't know, I really appreciated it. But anyway.
I love how they went back and forth in time to tell the story. So it was kind of it's different seeing that type of storytelling. But I think my favorite scene was when it's 3 a.m. and they're all around the piano, basically creating the song, writing this Respect, and just like the evolution, how they got to the final product. That was just so well done and just great. Jen, another music related movie.
Yeah, this is a little bit different, but
a little bit.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. I love movies where they focus on an artist's or somebody famous's life. I genuinely like those most of the time. I mean, I can't think of a bad one that I've seen off the top of my head. I'm sure they exist, but the one thing that really took me out of this, and everybody's gonna hate me for saying it, okay? I didn't like Jennifer Hudson in that role, and not because she did a bad job. I love her. I actually met her and got to briefly work with her about 10 years ago. Oh. She's amazing in person. She sounds exactly like that. I thought she did a great job. My issue here was that she's so famous in real life that I was watching Jennifer Hudson the entire time. It did not take me to a place where I saw Aretha Franklin. I would have almost preferred an unknown person just so I could watch Aretha Franklin's life, not watch Jennifer Hudson playing Aretha Franklin, if that makes any sense at all.
Kind of distracting.
It was very distracting to me. And Rob, afterwards, I said that he was like, oh, I didn't know who she was before. So I was like, if you didn't know who she was, you probably thought it was great. But when you know her as well as
like I feel bad that I didn't know who she was.
Yeah.
Wait, you didn't know who Jennifer Hudson was or Aretha Franklin?
No, I didn't know who Jennifer Hudson was.
Oh.
I mean, I had heard her name and I may have seen her in other things, but like it wasn't drawing for me like in the way that it was for Jen.
Right. For me, it was like, okay, we're gonna do a Cyndi Lauper film and Taylor Swift is gonna star. It just felt weird to me, and I was just watching Jennifer Hudson the entire time. She did a great job. She sounded as good as always, but I would have preferred somebody that we just didn't know so I could focus on the storyline a little bit.
Plus, she didn't really look like Franklin at all.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
like,
I think that the weirdest thing for me was when they changed all the album covers to put Jennifer Hudson on them.
Yes, that's what I mean. It didn't.
I own all those albums, so seeing them was like.
Yes. And when you, like I just said, when you know Jennifer Hudson and she has an amazing collection of her own records and her own things, I just thought it was weird. It just felt like we were doing. I don't know. I just didn't love that they put her in that role. Nothing to do with her. She's phenomenal. Yeah. I just wish they would have done somebody that was unknown. Like her sisters to me, I was like, oh, let me know more about them because I didn't know who those actresses are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I thought the casting was brilliant. I did have a slight issue with the pacing only because I felt like they rushed through some things that could have been.
They always do in biopics.
Yeah. It's really weird.
It always bothers me.
Like I don't want to give too much away, but like with the thing that happened to her when she was a child, the couple things, I would have really liked to know more about that. And instead they were like, no, she's 25 and we're celebrating her birthday at this concert with no backstory. It just felt like it was really strange. And even the ending, like I think they picked a good place to end, but the whole time I was wondering, I'm thinking to myself, well, I know she died like 2 years ago. So where is this gonna end? Like I didn't know at what point in her life they were gonna stop because I was thinking like we're just going from concert to concert to concert here, and it was just long at certain parts and short at other parts, and it bothered me a little. I mean, I think it was still great, but I was a little confused at certain things.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's much of a spoiler, but this, I mean, it's her real life. There's one scene where they ask Ray, are you pregnant again? again?
Yeah, again. And then she had all these kids, and like I know a little bit about Aretha Franklin, so I knew she had kids when she was younger.
She was 12 when she got pregnant the first time.
Well, right. Oh my god!
And the worst part about it is that her father also got a girl pregnant at 12.
Right. So like
it's like what?
They just didn't delve into it enough for me to really know without afterwards going and looking up the whole family story. Because they didn't make it clear what happened with her mother. Like it was just like done, and then it was like another thing done. And what's really strange is all these things seem to be happening in the same year, and then they would fast forward several years, and I was like, wait, all of these traumatic things happened to her when she was in 1952 or whatever the year was, and then they forward 10 years, and all of a sudden in 1962 she had another bunch of traumatic things, and that the pacing was really strange. The timeline was really strange. I don't know if it was true to what happened to her. If so, I feel very badly that a couple of those years are pretty rough for her.
Yeah. She grew up way too fast during that period. But I thought everybody in it was great. I actually really loved her sisters. I loved the guys they had playing her, boyfriends, husbands. Her kids were really cute in it. So Telsey cast it, so I'm not really surprised with it. I want to talk a little bit about some of the other actors. Well, Marlon Wayans for one, who I've never seen him in a villain role. Like he's an abusive husband, and
he's never done like serious work before.
Yeah,
like, this was nice because it was like his first like comedic role.
While we're talking about her boyfriends and the pacing, or like the people she was with, they didn't. I mean, obviously the middle one they focused on the most. She was married to him for quite a while, and that was a big plot line of the story. But I didn't feel enough of an introduction to some of these men. I don't know if that was on purpose because she was just kind of like sporadic herself. But like at one point I was like, wait, she's not with him, but now she's with this guy. And I didn't even know what the second guy's name was. Like I was getting a little confused because they just weren't saying like, now this is such and such. There was no like full on introduction. It was like,
Yeah.
I meet across the room, and now I'm supposed to assume that they're together, I guess.
Yeah, it's basically like, okay, once she left Marlon, like she was like, you know, the one guy who was the tour manager.
But they just didn't make it
And then
clear,
it was
I
like,
guess. Is what
oh,
I'm
now
saying.
you're with him? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird. Yeah, this movie had a lot of, I guess, script issues, and they could have benefited from some editing, I'd say. And again, this movie, this one anyway, is very long. I think this was like under 2.5 hours, which is a ridiculously long for any movie. But I noticed a lot of biopics are that long, but this could have been shorter.
Rob had said this too, and you can expand on it, Rob, because you were the one who said it to me. Some of the concert scenes were also a little odd because
thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, because they were like, she's selling out all over the place, and then it looked like they were in a black box theater somewhere in like the back of an alleyway. Like, it didn't seem like a big
those scenes like were jarring to me because like I felt like I wasn't like it was almost like a set. Like you couldn't hear the reverberations of the concert there. Like I wanted to see her, you know, like performing like in front of like a big crowd. I mean, like
yeah, especially when they did the show Her at the Garden.
Right. Yeah.
And it was like they made the Madison Square Garden look like it was like a black box theater.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Rob
cool.
brought it to my attention, and I was like, you know what, you were correct. So
like, I've been to Madison Square Garden. It does not feel
it doesn't look like that.
Yeah, like I mean, the sound was just too crisp, and like there were, you know, too many up close shots of like the audience in the front and everything like that. I wanted to feel like I was there.
Yeah.
But,
well, that part kind of took me out of it as well. But the songs themselves, they really they hold up after all.
Oh yeah, Aretha's great.
Yeah.
Jen Hudson is great. She sang them amazing. Like I said, I kind of wish it had been an unknown person, only because I was like, Jennifer Hudson sounds great, you know. But you know, that's not her fault. She did a great job.
The movie is basically a concert film with covers, which is okay. And actually, in preparation for this review, I actually saw the documentary Amazing Grace, which came.
Oh, I saw that in the theater. It was so good.
Yeah, I can imagine the audio being insane.
So good.
In the theater. But yeah, that was when it was weird. She sang at a church where it was like a Baptist church, and she and her father were guests of honor, and she was basically the headliner at this church this evening at church, and they filmed it. Sidney Pollack directed it, and you could see him in a few shots as a young director.
A lot of famous people in the audience too, like Mick Jagger and a couple of the Stones are there. It's interesting.
So
it's like the last, like, not that it's a spoiler because it's a biopic and we all know she exists, but the last, like the end of this movie is that concert.
Yeah.
Pretty much ends with
which
that.
I thought was a good place to end it, because I was thinking to myself, like, we're only in the 70s and this woman goes on and does like 30 more years of
I mean,
so what's
like,
gonna happen?
I love Aretha and everything, but like, you don't need to cover Aretha in the 80s and 90s. I have those records too. They're not very good.
No. Gotcha. Also, I wanted to mention Mark Maron has a supporting role, which is sort of the reason why I wanted to see this movie, because I've been on a glow kick lately, and I've been trying to watch. I'm basically trying to watch all of Mark Maron's stuff, his comedy routines, his stand-up, his podcast.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of it this week. He had Marlon on.
Oh, nice.
On WTF. So it was pretty cool. I caught a little of it.
That's great. I'm gonna have to listen. But I was excited to see him in this, but at the same time, I was really let down because his character, he plays the record producer. They really laid on that Jewish New York accent. It was too much.
But honestly, that's exactly how that guy sounds.
I'm sure.
Like, it was like pretty spot on. Like,
I just wanted Mark Maron. That's it.
I know.
Whatever.
He was very 1960s New York Jew. Like,
there you go.
Yeah, he was great actually. I liked him. I thought he was portrayed.
Nice.
Really
all right,
well.
guys. Rob, see it or skip it?
See it.
Yes. Jen?
See it.
Good. Mr. Roren.
See it.
I say see it as well. And I'm sure a lot more people are going to see this come award season because I think Hudson.
I mean, he's definitely going to get nominated. She'll most likely win. Usually you play a dead famous person, like especially a singer, you're in.
Well, that's what she won her last Oscar for.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she won for Dreamgirls, which is basically the Supremes.
Oh, that was a true story. I didn't know that. I didn't see that one.
I mean, it's fabricated, but
it's loosely like the Supremes.
It's we all know it's the Supremes secretly. So.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Well, Respect is now out in theaters, so I highly recommend that. Real quick, I want to do coming attractions for this week. We've got the horror thriller. I think it's a spiritual sequel. It's Candyman, and basically it continues that story made famous by the role made famous by Tony Todd in the 90s movies.
Who returns in this film as well. Good.
Awesome. Very nice guy, by the way. I met him at a red carpet.
He's a sweetheart.
He's really cool. Also, we've got a sci-fi thriller called The Colony, starring Nora Arnie-Zeter, who was actually in a movie we reviewed a couple weeks back called The Hereafter or Hereafter. So that was good. The Colony. And lastly on the list, a James McAvoy drama called Together, also starring Sharon Horgan and Samuel Logan, about a couple who are forced to reevaluate themselves and their relationship through the reality of a lockdown. So very timely. That's Together. And guys, while I have you, any plugs, anything that's going on you want to mention, Jen?
Well, as always, I'm directing a bunch of shows. I actually have a show going up tomorrow, Godspell, with my middle school kids. And then there's a movie that I am filming, and it'll be out next year sometime for festivals. Life of a Modern Seer. The GoFundMe is actually on my Instagram page if anyone wants to donate it. Still writing. I've got a couple things coming out of my own. I'm working on a film with somebody, writing a film that we're trying to pitch to Hallmark and those kinds of things for a Christmas movie. And you can follow me on my new Instagram handle is jenn.cove. So it's my name now as opposed to my old one. You can just type in my name on Instagram or Facebook to find me there, and all my stuff is up there. So
I'm out of breath. That was a lot of stuff. You just
I feel like it's not that much compared to what I usually say too. So.
Okay. Cool. Always busy. That's awesome. Rob, anything you want to plug?
Guys, check out Mr. Cheapos and Comac and Mineola. I actually picked up a stylus and a cartridge for my record player, so I'm going to put that together. And they've got a lot of great movies there as well, so check them out.
Sounds good. Awesome. And Mr. Roren,
come on down to Pickle Island in Bayville, New York. Pickles, comics, DVDs, CDs, things like that. Whatever. And also there's a new Roren Karaoke Experience video dropping sometime in the next week or so. We recorded it on Friday, and should be done editing soon, and that'll be fun. And you can find that on YouTube, MRKE, Matt Roren Karaoke Experience, and then we also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page and all that. And it'll all be posted. You'll find out when.
I love it. Awesome. And I still need to go to Bayville. I really do. It's going to happen soon. Also, guys, if you want to watch new episodes of Under the Radar, we broadcast and air on Manhattan Neighborhood Network. And you can also go on the YouTube channel, subscribe and share. We've got plenty of previous episodes, interviews with talent, feature-length commentaries. So check out Under the Radar there. Also on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, if you want to watch the show on your TVs, you can go to the, we've got cable channels, FiOS 34, RCN 83, and Spectrum 56 and 1996. So you could see all of this fun stuff on the big screen at home on your TVs. Matt, Jen, Rob, thank you so much for your time. As always, this was great. And everyone at home, thank you for watching on your devices and TVs. I'm Randy Unger. This has been Under the Radar. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Take care.